This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us. Check out IWC, RWA, and more. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Hungry as fuck, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail dog set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Feeding for the taste of the fly.
Hey guys, it's the Indy Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, PA, and we got another return guest. Everybody's coming back. Everybody's visiting us, updating us on their travels, and today is no different. This is, I don't know, the third or fourth time we've had this guy on. He keeps coming back. And at least we've upgraded the dig since he was here last. But in the meantime, please go check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. You can find this and other podcasts. And also check out all the wrestling, including our guest today, over at IndyWrestling.us. Hell, even some high marks of this gentleman's career, I believe, if I remember, from a couple of promotions. But anyways, with us today he is the Pretty Boy Killer.
Like the Ohio State. We won't talk about what happened with Purdue. We're just going to skip past that. But the Pretty Boy Killer.
Shane Taylor.
Yes, sir.
You're talking sports ball with me, already throwing me off on this podcast.
That's what I do, man. I got to keep you on your toes.
Well, you know, my rule is I don't watch sports that don't admit that they're fixed.
I mean, yeah, because they couldn't survive the way pro
wrestling
was.
Exactly. I mean, there's a reason, and that's why it's pro wrestling. That's why wrestling is forever, as they say on the T-shirt.
Absolutely.
So, well, you know, I kind of joked about this, but I think I am going to start this the way I did with Facade. So what's been up with you since we've talked last?
Man, it's been
about a year and a half, man. You've been doing a lot. You've been all over Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. I think lost even more weight since I've seen you last.
Yeah, man. It's been a constant grind. You know, always just trying to be the very best. Like I tell people, I've never been a JV guy. I've always been a starter. I've always been the main guy. I've always been a guy that could lead my teams, and that's the pressure that I put on myself. Yeah, man, it's been a crazy year and a half. Got married this past March.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I have a second daughter on the way now. That's good news. So all of the old first kid feelings are starting to flood back, and I just got to remind myself, like, look, you were fine. The first kid's still alive. She's healthy. You know, maybe you do all right.
We passed the first test.
You know, first hurdle is cleared. We're good. So now it's just, you know, continuing to do the things that I do, settling into my expanding roles in ROH and overseas, and really excited about the UK tour that I have. It's going to be really, really fun to be out there.
That's awesome. You're becoming a bit of a staple there in Ring of Honor. We talked a little bit about you're trying to kind of establish kind of a different role for Ring of Honor. Because, I mean, you know, when I remember when guys like Ray Rowe and Hanson and you coming in and Keith Lee was there for a minute too. It was really different than the smaller, flippy guy stuff, you know, or work rate, batch, that they would have, like, thinking AJ Styles and Bryan Danielson back in the day. Like, you were definitely not, for better or worse, Bryan Danielson.
No, not at all. Not at all. When you
worse for your opponents, probably.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, all the technical wrestling in the world is great. All of the high-flying acrobatics are great. My approach to wrestling is very similar to that of a high school fight. You know, all of the pushing and shoving is great. All of the trash talk is great. But you got the reactions that you got when someone got hit in the mouth. And everyone, oh my goodness. Like, that's what I live on. I live off of that raw fight energy. Big fights, big hits, physicality. That's what I like. That's what I think people are drawn to. That's why they love to see what we do, is the physicality of what we do. Some guys make it an art form. They make their careers off of it. And some guys do a million other things, you know, to branch off of that tree. But in my opinion, when I get down to it, it's two guys standing there throwing hands to see who the man is. and that's what I'm all about.
And it sounds like you have a lot of opportunity because now we're having this talking this way. Like I'm thinking back to the history of Ring of Honor, and there's always been like maybe one big guy, right? One bruiser, maybe one moose, one somebody like that. Now it's like it is a collection. It was for a while. It was the War Machine was there with you. You got the Real Man and
Silas Young,
and the Bruiser, the Beer City Bruiser, and everything like that. So it is. I wouldn't call it the land of the giants that WWE is necessarily, but like there's a lot of beef up there.
Absolutely, and there's a great mix in wrestling. Some people like to call it a variety show. We want to have something for everybody. Everybody, Ring of Honor has based its history and its legacy off being the best wrestling company in the world. And when you look at the history of that and the guys that have come through there, you can't argue with that. So now to have the ability to have more entertaining acts than people that just want to see, wrestling in its purest form. You can have your comedy acts, you have your entertaining acts, you have your fighters, you have your brawlers, you have your technical guys, you have your smaller guys, and now you have your bigger guys too. That people can go out there, see us go toe to toe, but also we go to the top rope. We do some flips too. So to make people's jaws drop and give them one hell of a show, that's what we're all about.
That's awesome. You mentioned UK and everything like that. I believe is this your first international tour?
This will be my second time going over to the UK. The first time I was on the Honor United tour. Had some matches with Scorpio Sky. I believe we were in Edinburgh, Scotland, and then had matches with Yano in London in a tag team match with Bully Ray and Punishment Martinez. When we were also in England, but I can't remember the name of the town. I'm sure someone's going to be like, it was such and such. I'm sorry. But so
okay, go over the cage match and check it out, right? You'll see what that was.
Absolutely. So then this will be my second tour. I get to debut for a lot of great companies, Fourth Generation, IPW, UK Southside, Rev Pro, and a couple others, and it's going to be really, really fun. A lot of heads to turn, a lot of things to prove, and I'm excited, really excited, motivated.
That's always been a big thing that impresses me with Ring of Honor. Like you guys, of course, are doing the big shows and big matches with their Ring of Honor, but you are going like still around, popping up. We'll be talking in a moment about what you've been doing here locally, including last night as of this recording. But you're still out there mixing it up with other up and comers along the way. So absolutely. Like it's how is that like being like kind of on the big stage of Ring of Honor, but still, I don't know if I want to call it still an indie grind kind of thing. Yeah, how would you address that?
There's a mentality that I have that I wish other people did, and like for a lot of like when people make it right, a lot of people just assume they did it by themselves, which is a lie. You don't. Everybody that's ever given you an opportunity is a part of that journey. Now, everybody aren't the ones that essentially helped you get there, but they provided you platforms to be able to learn and grow. So when I was a few years in, like I wanted the chance to prove myself against the guys that they were bringing in that were better than me to improve. A lot of times I didn't get those chances. They always went to somebody else. They always went to the Golden Boys of the promotion. They always went to those guys. And so for me, that built up a lot of anger in me. I'm like, well, how do I get better if only the same guys are getting the same opportunities over and over and over again? So now, fast forward, essentially being the other guy now in that equation, I get to go and work with and perform and help those guys that I think, okay, he's like me, like with that mentality, like he wants to prove himself. Cool. Anybody could come in and wrestle that guy. I want to wrestle him. I want to wrestle him and see what he's got. Like if I can help him, great. If he teaches me something, great. Like, but somehow let's make it happen where everybody is successful.
So you're kind of looking at a roster and trying to find those kind of diamonds in the rough.
Absolutely.
Out there. Yeah,
absolutely. Because those are the guys that fall to the cracks. Those are the guys that aren't getting the headlines. And those guys deserve just as much of an opportunity to be successful as the flavors of the month now. You know what I'm saying? Not that they don't deserve to be there, but when you look at indie wrestling, especially, if you really pay close attention, the same 10, 15, maybe 20 guys are just wrestling each other all across the world.
Famously, back in the day, because they say it happened here, it was Colt Cabana and CM Punk were just traveling together.
Everywhere. And so it's like, and it's super hard to break through that circle if you don't get those opportunities. So now it's like, okay, well, let's start finding other ways to get other people opportunities, and we'll see what happens.
Well, let's talk about that. You've been doing a little bit of I've been calling personally a homecoming tour for you, because you've been back in IWC, and you've been back in IWC since being up there. And wait, were you in Ring of Honor for that Reloaded show with Wardlow yet? I'm not sure if you were signed. Now I think about it,
maybe not.
So you were just coming around, because I think you were just signed when we had you on last time. But you're making an appearance. You're getting around. You're getting to Texas. But this has been, since making such a big splash on Ring of Honor television, you've done IWC here a couple months in the recent mid-year here, and now just last night with the Renegade Wrestling Alliance as well. What's it like to kind of come back to the old territory and kind of revisit that?
Oh, man, it was awesome. Like, coming through and getting the reception from the crowd that I got was incredible. I rarely get goosebumps, but that was something that instantly, it was just chills and memories and flashbacks and just so much raw energy. It was awesome. It feels really good now to be the guy, again, like I said, on the other side of the equation, to go, okay, by doing what I do, I can somehow help somebody else, improve upon something or get better or elevate someone or elevate a company around these actions. So I take a lot of pride in that. So for me, that's the best feeling in the world.
Just coming off last night, of course, you were back at Renegade Wrestling Alliance, which I kind of point to as the place that kind of you became Shane Taylor back in the day.
Absolutely. Like, that was one of the first places that essentially took the cuffs off of me and just said, go do what you want to do. And it worked, because that's the kind of leeway that I need. Like, I'm not I don't do well in a cubicle. I don't do well in a box. Just let me do what I do and move out of the way is sort of how I operate. And the places that have allowed me to do that reap the benefits of that. The places that don't, they'll make up any excuse. Well, he wasn't successful here. It's like, well, yeah, because I don't operate well in that framework. Just like you have system quarterbacks in sports. Like, you take somebody out of a system they were successful in, you put them in a different type of system where they don't get the same chances to be successful. That's going to happen. So yeah, like, to be there and let them have them have the confidence in me to say, okay, we believe in you, just go do your thing, is fantastic. And loyalty to me is everything, so they're always going to have my loyalty for being one of the first few places to let me do that.
Absolutely. And of course, IWC, another place that you've been as well through your career, including, I think I remember a really good match with a young kid named Logan Shulo that seems to be playing guitar on Monday nights now.
Yeah, man. I think I was his last match before he left.
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah. And so yeah, another really fun one. Rematch that I'm looking forward to at some point in our careers. So we'll see what happens there.
I bet you got some ideas of what to do with that guitar.
Oh man. None that I'm going to share on the show, because I don't want potential sponsors to go, oh no, click. You know what I mean? Like,
take that, Gibson. You returned to IWC, and you seem to have had a match with everybody representing Canada, including Jackson Argos is in the chat room and saying, with all due respect, I want to punch you in the face again.
Jackson Argos can say that over the computer all he wants, but he's not going to say that if he was standing here.
Nope.
So,
nope.
Like I said, the people tend to not want to pay the cost of being lippy when the price goes up. You know what I mean? So when you're standing here, the price is very high. Not so much when you're across the screen. So we'll see about that.
That's awesome. So we were talking a little bit about your international travels, and we were talking about Japan. ROH, of course, you've had a chance to take on some of the New Japan talent, and are you seeing that in the future here?
I mean, being in the ring with the Bucks and with Hangman Page and Skrull, and most recently Jeff Cobb. But to also have the matches with Yano and Hiroki Goto and Minoru Suzuki, Killer Elite Squad. I've had the chance to step in the ring with a lot of New Japan's guys, and personally, I feel like it's a fit for me. I think what I do and what they do, and we see a lot of the same things as far as professional wrestling being a fight and being a battle of wills, battle of heart. And again, that's one of the places I hear so many times, oh, you'd be perfect there, you'd be perfect there. Cool.
Make it happen.
That's great. There's a series of things that need to happen first in order for that to happen. So
it's somewhere along the travels, but it sounds like you're on the right path for it.
Trying to get there.
So tell me a little bit. Of course, really kind of ingrained in Ring of Honor now. Tell me about and I've heard this discussion too. You talk about the handcuffs being off and kind of giving yourself some room to grow there. It sounds like everything I hear about Ring of Honor is kind of in a similar vein, right?
Well, yeah, it's most of the time in professional wrestling as a whole, people don't know what they want until they see it. So there's not, and I'm trying to word this correctly, but there's not really any room to do much of anything unless you come up with something quickly that can spark something. So a lot of guys get left by the wayside. They just, not because they're unliked or not because they're not popular, just because they don't know what to do with you. Like they have other guys they have to worry about that they have to take care of. So for me now, it's a case of knowing who I am, knowing what I want to be, and just essentially saying, I'm not going to wait for you to give me a chance. Like, I'm just going to keep proving to the world why I'm the best kept secret in this company, and let the people see, and let them see for themselves. Every time you put me in the ring with anybody, it's the match is fire. Whether it's Cheeseburger, whether it's Joey Diesel Diego, whether it's Hangman Page, whether it's Jeff Cobb, the result of each match is, holy hell, that was great. Holy hell, that was great. The common denominator being your boy.
I also want to take a moment. Cheeseburger, I don't think gets enough credit.
He doesn't.
He
He really doesn't. He is one of the unsung heroes of Ring of Honor as well. He has been for a long time.
Yeah, he's been doing some fun stuff in Japan, and I've seen him on a few shows here locally. When Cheeseburger gets like some time, I feel like the weird set. When Cheeseburger can go,
he can. He absolutely can. He absolutely can.
But amazing. So again, Ring of Honor has kind of been in this insane growth period right now. So it's got to be a hell of a time to be a part of that promotion.
Absolutely.
With of course the news of the I think they're officially a sellout for Madison Square Garden.
Officially a sellout.
Teaming up with New Japan and everything like that. Being the effectively, I guess, number 2 in America, which I don't. That's not a detriment. It's I'm not saying that as a knock.
Right. It is.
It's just
is.
like. You're the other, the other guy, the
Right.
WCW, the however you want to frame that,
Right.
But growing,
Yes.
and definitely like getting up there. Geez, I don't want to say this, so it's like,
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I mean, there's this when you can't argue with who's with
I
who
consider
the guys,
it.
right.
I'm trying to say it's the other top company.
We are the alternative.
Yes.
We are the alternative.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. As I dig myself into a hole. What's it like to be kind of on the ride to see that kind of growth, especially exponentially since even you showed up in Ring of Honor?
It's been incredible, and it's a testament to how hard the company has worked and how hard the men and women of the roster have worked to grow the brand and continue to put out great matches, great shows for our fans. It's a testament to everybody's collective effort to build Ring of Honor into what we want it to be and what we can see it being in the future. And to see how we've changed from just being the wrestling company to being a total entertainment company as well has been tremendous to see, and I couldn't be prouder of everybody.
There seems to be a special energy there whenever they come to town here in Pittsburgh, which is, I have been contending, we were having this discussion before, this is a wrestling town.
Right.
Like it or not, wherever you think, if you get pissed about the Anthony Bourdain special, this is a wrestling town.
Right.
Whether you see it or not. And, while not the big venue, I would counter that you have more energy at any Ring of Honor show here in town than you do when SmackDown comes to town or anything like that at this point.
Absolutely. When they come to town, there's a different vibe here, and people know that what they're getting is like they're paying to get what they want, and that is high quality professional wrestling in a crazy environment that's fun and energetic and passionate, and that's what we bring. And it's a more intimate setting for people, so you really get to feel like you're a part of the show. You're not just another number. You are a part of the show, and it's awesome.
Awesome. So with that, what are you kind of seeing out there in your travels? Like, is there anybody that's kind of sticking out in your mind that you've encountered that people should be looking out for?
Oh man, there's. All right, this is the part. Look, I get hit in the head for a living, so I forget a lot. But there are quite a few people. Whether you're talking about when you're on the female side, you have Wrestle Bay, Vanity. You have Savannah Evans, Ronnie Nicole, Big Bang Nicole. Even though I don't like the kid, Jerome Daniels down there in Texas.
And these are a lot of names I don't hear.
Yes,
like I say, these are names that I do not hear all the time.
Exactly, because these are like when I go and I travel, I like to associate with people that I see that are grinders, that are people that go out there and just bust their ass day in and day out. And while they're not garnering, and a lot of them, especially like Ronnie Nicole, she's in Japan all the time. Like, she's an international star. Like, it's just, if people don't do certain things or don't behave a certain way, then they just don't get the highlights that everybody else gets. It's just part of the business.
And especially Japan is, their top company doesn't have women's wrestling classically, so it's probably a little harder to get the word out, internationally.
But I mean, there's a lot of guys that are just, and a lot of ladies that are just really killing it. It would take forever for me to sit here and think of everybody, so I apologize. But it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see.
Awesome. Well, I usually ask what's the best and worst thing about indie wrestling, but what's the best and worst thing about rolling with Ring of Honor these days?
What's the best and worst thing about it? I mean, the best thing for me are the people you get to be in front of, the platform you have, the competition you have to compete against. We really do have the best roster on the planet, the best wrestling on the planet. Like, it's not just a tagline when we say it. One of the worst things? I don't know. Like, there's not really. I mean, for me personally, it's just, again, I'm a person that thrives off of direction and competition. And to me, if no amount of seniority, no amount of hype, no amount of preordained success that you're supposed to have when you show up matters to me. I don't care if you were a senior and this has been, you've been dreaming about being a starter your whole life. If I come in as a freshman and take your job, that's just what I did. You sit on the bench. That's the mindset that I have. So it's interesting to see, guys come in and just have the red carpet rolled out for them. And it's like, okay, yeah, every plan you think you have about that guy, every good thing you think you're about to have with him, I'm gonna ruin, because I want that spot. I want that job.
That's awesome.
And I'm gonna do it by any means necessary.
We're having a little bit of discussion about like your background in here, if you don't mind me going this tangent. You were a kid from Cleveland that wasn't in the best neighborhoods and everything, and you talk about that sounds like that was an understatement.
Right.
And I think it's important to kind of do you have any advice for people that are in such a dire situation to kind of pick themselves up to look at what you did, right? You're on a national platform, and got a great family down there, and,
yes.
and it sounds like you're living the dream.
Man, it's normal life has never felt so good, especially when you come from a place where you have a survivalist mentality. My one thing would be find something to hold on to, find something to focus on, find something that takes your mind off of the situations around you, because it's very easy to get caught up in all the BS that goes on. You know, it could have easily happened to me, and I've been lucky enough to have people in my life that were like, "Hey, no, you're meant to do more than this," you know. So I thank God for them, because I could very, very easily not be sitting here today. So that would be my thing. To is find something that drives you, find something that inspires you, and put all of your time and energy into that, because that will keep you away from the streets, that keeps you away from the people you don't need to be around, and that keeps you even from the people that you think are your friends but aren't really your friends. Like, that keeps you away from them too, because you're so focused and so driven on what you need to get done that's where your attention's going to be. Luckily for me, I had that, and professional wrestling has provided that. And now I get to be some sort of example. Not the best example. I'm not going to say that at all. I'm not a role model for anybody, but I get to do my part in trying to change the perception of what people like myself can be. You know, for a lot of time, and it's still relevant in professional wrestling now, especially for black males, you're only seen by society as a certain thing. People can only comprehend you being certain things. You can only be, you know, a pimp, a thug, a drug dealer, or you're out there with the chains and the grills and or some comedy act, or you are you have to sing, dance, and show how non-threatening you are because some people may be offended, you know. But it's I now want to be one of the people to break that mold. You can be anything anybody else could be. You can be the smart bad guy. You can be the hero that overcomes all obstacles. You can be that. And more than often, the life that you came from is more inspiring than somebody else because of the stuff you've had to overcome to get to that point. They're naturally built-in stories to just how we come up in this nation and in society and all across the world. So to be a guy that can sort of shatter that glass ceiling, as I say, like that's something that I take a lot of pride in, and something that I want, when you talk about legacy and things of that sort, want for people to go, that guy is the one who said, you know, enough is enough. Like it's really time to get rid of all these stereotypes, get rid of all these preconceived notions, and really let people go out and do their thing.
Awesome. I think it's a great point to end on. Thank you
Amen.
so much.
Thank you.
Where can people find you online?
As always, Facebook.com/Shane Taylor, Twitter and Instagram @Shane216Taylor. Would be remiss if I didn't mention ProWrestlingTees.com/Shane Taylor. If you're in the merch buying mood, please go pick up a shirt. A lot of great designs on there, as well as ROHWrestling.com. Go to the shop zone there. Not shop zone.
Nope, somebody else. Nope.
No. Go to the merch store there. Go to the ROH merch shop there. Pick up your Shane Taylor shirt. Knockouts for everybody. Going to work on a new shirt here soon, so looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Do you design your stuff?
What's up?
Do you design your stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go. DIY at its best, right?
Well, I can't say DIY either. I think that's common.
Man, they have everything up there. Son of a... I still got to see some of the designs for the first time last night. Like some people walking in with some of your designs, and I was like, oh shit, is that a Shane Taylor shirt?
I'm telling you, man,
That
Shane
looks
Taylor
good.
original, bro. Shane
That
Taylor
looks
original. I'm out
good.
here.
Good
All right.
shit.
Now, I don't do the art. I come up with the concept, and I give it to people much more talented than myself.
Okay.
To go
But
out
you're the germ. You're the germ.
But the
There you go.
brainchild is right here.
There you go.
Starts
Go
right
check it out. And, of course, please go look for Ring of Honor whenever they come to your town on your local TV. And, of course, you can check it out over at Honor Club and probably see his entire Ring of Honor career over there at this point, right?
That's right.
And you can see his pre-Ring of Honor career with the RWA and IWC. And, I don't know, we have anything else from you? Anything from Cleveland, maybe?
I'm sure it's probably a few.
Were you in
probably
you were in
maybe
Prime? Or?
Maybe.
Something out
Maybe.
there. There's some
Something like
stuff.
that.
Just type his name in IndyWrestling.us. There's plenty of content out there for you to check out and catch up on where the heck this guy came from, or he's beating up some skinny kid named Jimmy Nuts.
Where is Jimmy Nuts, by the way?
That's a discussion for off show.
I got you.
Probably. But thank you so much to everybody in the chat room here live. Whenever you see us doing Facebook Lives, thank you for everybody that does pop in there and look for the events whenever we do have anybody pop in, because we get them wherever we can. Because hey, Shane's in town, we gotta get him in here.
Absolutely,
it's tradition.
Absolutely,
at least once a year.
At least.
Thank you so much, and until next time, please support indie wrestling and the wrestling alternatives at Ring of Honor for sure. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.